Ever have felt forgotten in a waiting room? Let's talk about it. Hi, and welcome to another episode of Culture Connection Conversations, where we bring you relatable stories of diversity.
Hi, I'm Filomene, based in the Netherlands.
And I am Claudia from Luxembourg.
I'm a certified intercultural trainer, working with leaders and SME entrepreneurs.
And I am a professional coach working with corporate leaders, entrepreneurs, as well as their teams in tech and beyond.
You call us when as a leader or entrepreneur, your teams are struggling, results are going down, or there's friction.
Let's get started. Let's get started.
Yeah, let's do that, Claudia, because today I think we have a story on a situation in a waiting room, right? Take it
Yeah.
away.
Yes. So I live in Luxembourg in, what essentially is a rather small town, all things considered, even though for Luxembourg it's already a little bit on the more sizable side. In any case, there is a specialist doctor here that has the tendency, or kind of the rule, to always double book appointments.
Is that a
Yeah.
tendency or a habit, Claudia?
I think it's just a modus operandi. I think that's just what he does,
Yeah, I
like
sense it.
every appointment slot, not just one patient, but two. As a consequence, you're always waiting forever in this waiting room. Forever. I mean, sometimes he's like an hour and a half late for something that, for all intents and purposes, is a rather shortish appointment, treatment or checkup with the specialist doctor. And so I found that it had two interesting cultural dimensions to it. The first one is from his view. He does not want to, I'm assuming here, he does not want to waste a minute. He never wants his practice to be idle, even just for 1 minute. And, but from the standpoint of the patients, it's like, yeah, okay. How do you feel about this guy that kind of mm, does that to you, right? And I think that there's a lot going on here under the surface. For me personally, when I go there, I have maybe a sense that he's being selfish. He's being not very respectful to his patients. That's my own personal a priori kind of thing. And it made me wonder at some point as well, why do we even stay with this guy? I mean, he's not the only type of specialist in that thing available here in the country. And it's not just, I think, that we are lazy to drive into Luxembourg City or some other place in the country to get this kind of checkup or treatment, but I think that for very many of them, it's also this loyalty to the local boy. Because he comes from an established family here in town, he has been around forever, and he was the first of that type of specialist to establish themselves here. So a lot of people at the beginning, families at the beginning, went to him for these kind of things, and he just got away with it. Because why should he change? People are still coming. It's not like he's missing patients. His waiting room is literally always full.
Yeah, it must be, Claudia. It's full all the time, right? Yeah, everybody that's way. But then again, Claudia, the story you tell me, I get the feeling that he gives you a lot of attention. So patients to him are very important. So he does not want to, cut them off or do them short. For example, I have a generalist right over here. Whenever I enter, she's sort of already still typing or already typing in her computer, which is on the right side of her desk. And I'm sitting on the left side, right? So she does not even look at me. She just registers whatever I am saying. So I feel irrelevant. And also, I don't feel encouraged to share my stories. So she never runs, she's never overdue, and her waiting room is hardly ever full, right? I think the maximum I have ever had to wait was 10 minutes. But me leaving her appointment, I think, suspect, is with a different sentiment than me leaving from your particular doctor. So yeah, you makes you wonder. You could also
But
decide.
he does not, and I'm sorry, he really doesn't give you any additional time or that much time because he is always double booked. That means in what should be a 15-minute appointment, 15, 1 5, he might only give you 10 because he has already the other person that kind of should fit into that slot.
But
So
that's a different scenario. But he needs a new assistant.
I think he probably just needs to do what he ought to be doing and just give each patient their slot and be done with it. I mean,
Yeah. Well, he needs a new assistant for sure, right? He needs someone who safeguards him from this panic situation. But yeah, the issue here is that maybe, at some point we all start creating our own culture, whether this is in your profession or your family or your house, and we are sort of used to it. So we consider this to be normal, whereas obviously from the feedback you have just given me, it's not normal. It's annoying, it's irritating. Moreover, if you don't get this special attention, then you leave with the exactly same sentiment as I do from my generalist, which is, I think, not really positive. So something to be learned here, right?
I mean, this particular doctor, he does indeed give you attention when you're with him. You're just waiting for a very long time, and your appointments are rather short. But I mean, he does a good job, and he is also truly engaged with the people that come through. It's just, you're already aggravated to some sense
I
before
would
you
be.
even go in there.
Yeah.
But I also think that it comes back to this. Um, you deserve what you tolerate, because people could very well not go to him or make it much clearer. So for him, maybe it's just a matter of awareness, because he people let him get away with it in the beginning, and he tightened the schedule more and more and more, and in the end, his practice is still flourishing. So why should he change? He is maybe not even fully aware of the impact that this is having, because he
Yeah,
sits in
probably not.
his own little bubble. And his secretary is very aware of it, because she gets the brunt
Yeah,
of
well, I get it.
the
She
of
gets the phone
patient
calls.
wrath, right? Or phone calls like that. Some people call like, "Oh, my appointment is in 10 minutes, but how much is he running late today? Okay, I'm gonna come in an hour or something." I mean, it's literally to that point,
It's,
and so it's just, I think that for the same scenario of something that most of us would agree is a very well understood thing of a doctor and his patients and the waiting room and how schedules are done. In the popular culture, the societal culture, there's definitely a framework for that.
yeah.
But that, in this little context, it has changed a lot. And it shows culture in this company, and I mean this medical practice, and it shows culture in terms of what people tolerate and how they are just accepting it, even though it is different from maybe established principles.
But I think this is also why culture is so exciting, right? Because this is a great story, actually, on what we are used to and what we accept. And we tend to accept a lot when it's near to our own home and we are used to it. And obviously, your doctor is popular or sympathetic at least, otherwise we would not accept. But it's also proof that it's not on a country level, right? It's much closer to home. So being late, what I hear a lot is, for example, that in Spain or Italy, it's normal to be late. Whereas I would have expected as a Dutchie that in Luxembourg, 90% of the persons you have an appointment with, even doctors, would be on time. So there's proof that showing up late is not only intercultural, it's also interpersonal.
Right, right. Because I think that so much of culture exists at various dimensions, and we can create culture on a microcosmic level in our families, in our work team, in our little context
Yeah,
of our work
be fine
environment.
with it. Absolutely
Right?
fine.
And
Yeah.
it doesn't always, culture isn't always on the big, like, organizational culture or country culture
No.
or ethnic culture that even spans it more. It is much closer to home, like you said.
Yeah.
And so, yes, that is what makes it quite interesting.
Yeah. It's proof again that it's fun. So if we choose to observe in amazement and not irritation or annoyment, it makes our lives a whole lot better. So it might be a conclusion for today, Claudia, that the situation you described and different situations, if we just sit in a waiting room and look at it in amazement and just go home and make our own choices, life is a much more light, which is what we need.
Yeah. And again, the ever necessary, no, it was a wrong word, the ever good thing of becoming aware of what's happening and trying to understand why certain people do things and where they might be coming from, and but also of our own reactions to the environment that we are in, is going to teach us a lot about the
Yeah.
cultural flavor of things, including our own.
The challenge is to just zoom out, and in the long run, Claudia, we have a choice, right? Either you go to this doctor or you don't, right? And if you don't want to wait, choose someone else, right?
Exactly. Exactly. So, everybody, we would love to hear from you. What were your highlights? What were your key takeaways? Do you have similar stories? If so, please do share them. We would love it if you show us your love by subscribing to the channel, or otherwise engaging with our content. If you have questions or suggestions, you can at any moment reach out to us. Our contact information is attached to this video, or you can easily find us on social media. So this was fantastic, Philomen. Thank you so much for today's exchange.
Thank you, Claudia. Thank you.
We will be back with much more in the near future. Take care, everybody. Bye bye.
Bye.